Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. The IP reform fight's changing so fast, we can't do emails often enough to give you guys the updates. This video update will give you guys all the information that is current as of around 6 o'clock on Thursday evening. I'm going to give you guys some brief definitional answers for those who are asking us, what does IP reform mean, or how is it a gun rights issue? We'll break down the senators who are fighting for us, those who are fighting against us on the Republican side, and that backstabbing traitor who jumped sides last night and is stabbing all of us in the back. Also give you guys some updates on what you can do to help us put pressure on targeted senators. So let's get right into it. Number one, what does IP reform even stand for those who are asking that question? IP means initiative petition. The IP reform concept means changing the way initiative petitions can be brought to bear here in Missouri. Right now, Missouri, if an outside organization spends enough money, they can gather enough signatures in St. Louis and Kansas City, and they can have policy items placed on the ballot here in Missouri that, if ratified, if passed, would bypass the General Assembly completely and put that policy item directly into our state constitution. So if you're Michael Bloomberg or George Soros and you want to pass gun control in Missouri, you know you can't do it right now in the General Assembly. We've made that impossible. Instead, their goal is to have their petition gatherers get enough names, again, in St. Louis and Kansas City, to put gun control on the ballot. And right now here in Missouri, if 50% plus one vote of the votes cast approve that measure, they will again bypass the General Assembly and put gun control directly into our state constitution. It is certainly the weak underbelly of Missouri's Second Amendment freedoms. All that we have done in the last decade here in Jeff City could be and would be undone with these harmful initiative petitions. The solution to that is to change the threshold. Currently, 50% plus one vote of all votes cast approve the measure. The reform underway right now here in Jeff City would say 50% plus one of at least 5 of our congressional districts. It would make sure that you can't just have St. Louis and Kansas City upset and destroy all that we have done here in Missouri over the last decade, but also over the last hundreds of years of freedoms that have been codified via our General Assembly. So it is clearly a gun rights issue. If we do not fix IP reform, they can undo all that we have done. Now, that brings us to what's going on right now over the last 24 to 48 hours. For the last couple of days, the Democrats here in Jeff City mounted a filibuster. What that means, again, for those who are asking, is they get on the floor to be recognized and they talk as long as they can to wind down the clock here in Jeff City. The Democrats filibustered for approximately 50 hours trying to block IP reform. In that meantime, there's only one real way you can stop a filibuster. Well, there's 2 ways. You can negotiate with them behind the scenes, the Democrats and the Republicans, or you can end the filibuster by moving what's called a previous question motion, a PQ motion. It takes 10 senators to advance a PQ motion to the floor. It takes 18 senators to approve the actual measure on the floor. The hardest part right now, frankly, is getting the 10 who are willing to stand apart from their Rhino Party leaders like Cindy O'Laughlin and Caleb Rowden and put their name on that document. For the last 2 days in Jeff City, I would say Tuesday and Wednesday in particular, we've been working with our allies to get the 10 names we had to have to move the PQ motion. It seems like a pretty simple thing, right? We have 24 freaking Republican senators. We need less than half of that. We need 10 of them to move the PQ motion, end the filibuster, and pass IP reform. The problem is we have so many rhinos in Jeff City right now, it's very hard to get the list of 10. We worked for a couple days to do that. And the 9 names that we had on the PQ motion in order of when they signed it, the first batch was Senator Rick Bratton, Senator Bill Eigel, Senator Denny Hoskins, Nick Schroer, Andrew Koenig, and Mike Moon. That was the first batch, and that was Tuesday afternoon. I want to say Tuesday evening, we got Holly Rader on there. And then yesterday, Wednesday, we had Ben Brown. And then eventually Jill Carter also added her name to the list. So we had 9 senators on the PQ motion. These senators certainly are worthy of and deserving of our thanks as they help fight to end the filibuster in Jeff City. When that happened, and when leadership knew that we almost had the 10 we had to have, things began to change. And here is exactly what happened last night at around, I want to say 5:30. Senator Mary Coleman from Jefferson County, many of you folks probably have heard the name Mary Coleman. Senator Mary Coleman is the floor manager for IP reform. It's SJR-74. It's easy to introduce the bill, and it's a great campaign tool for people who are currently running for a statewide office, as Senator Coleman is. The problem, though, is when we have rhinos who want to kill the bill, who are making deals with Democrats who want to kill the bill, then the real leadership is expressed, because it takes a real leader who will then stand up there and move a PQ motion if necessary and end the damn filibuster. And very simply put, Mary Coleman did not want to put her name on the PQ list. And so late yesterday afternoon, early evening, I guess it was, she came into another senator's office. She grabbed the list of the names that we had on the PQ motion. She said she was the one who was going to end the filibuster, and she grabbed the sheets to put all these 10 names together and go out on the Senate floor and end the filibuster. That's what she said. About 90 seconds later, Mary Coleman gets on the Senate floor and she does the unthinkable. She makes a motion to end the conversation about her SJR, the IP reform bill, and to re-refer it to a conference committee. What does that mean? It's very simple. A conference committee is when 5 state reps and 5 state senators get together to hash out their various chambers' disagreements over a bill. What that does, and it usually allows the more moderate, the more rhino-ish party of these 10 to weaken good gun bills, good bills in general, and send a much reduced bill back to the House and Senate to have them approve it. So when Senator Mary Coleman referred IP reform to a conference committee last night, it was absolutely an effort to sabotage IP reform. Now, if you ask Senator Coleman, what she will say is that it was the only way to save IP reform. She is a duplicitous person. She'll want you to believe that if we didn't do that, we were going to run out the clock. But that's not true, because the PQ motion would end the filibuster and get us on to the freaking vote for IP reform. That vote last night passed, and we had 9 rhinos in the Senate who voted with the Democrats to send the bill to the fatal conference committee. Those senators are Senator Bean. These are all Republicans. These are all rhino Republicans. Senator Bean, Bernskoetter, Cierpiot, Crawford, Eslinger, Rowden, Cindy O'Laughlin, the august Senator, the Senate Majority Floor Leader, Lincoln Hough, who wants to be our Lieutenant Governor right now, and again, Mary Coleman, who wants to be our Secretary of State. The last 2 are in statewide primaries right now. So these 9 rhinos joined up with all the Democrats to send IP reform into the conference committee, likely, but not assuredly, killing IP reform for the year. It happened at around 6 o'clock or 6:45, maybe Wednesday evening. Now, today in the House leaders have made it very clear, and it hasn't quite happened yet. It should happen very soon. I'm checking my phone here for an update that just came in. Give me just one idea. As of this afternoon, the House is going to refuse the conference committee request. And what that means is leadership in the House, who we have been very critical of all session, I'll be very clear with that, they are doing the right thing here. And they are telling the rhinos in the Senate, hell no, we are not going to agree to a conference committee and have you weaken down IP reform. They're going to then send the bill back to the Senate, who will get the bill tomorrow, the last day of session, in which case they have one last chance. They do, we all do, to pass IP reform. The only way we can do that is to use the PQ motion, because the Democrats will most assuredly filibuster tomorrow over IP reform. So to recap the entire thing, the Democrats blocked us. We had a way to end the filibuster Mary Coleman and 8 of her Rhino allies screwed us and sent the bill into a conference committee. The House has said we're not going to agree to your conference committee, and the bill is coming back to the Senate late tonight or first thing in the morning, which would be Friday, May 17. We adjourn the session tomorrow. That's, again, Friday, May 17 at 6 p.m. The only way that we could move this forward now is for at least 10 senators to add their name to the PQ motion and end the Democrat filibuster, and then hopefully we can get 18 Republican senators to vote on the bill. I know it's a lot. There's no easy way to break all this down, but that is where things stand right now. Very quickly, again, there's 9 good names and there's 9 bad names I want you guys to remember. The 9 senators who were on the PQ motion were Rick Bratton, Bill Eigel, Denny Hoskins, Nick Schroer, Andrew Koenig, Mike Moon, Holly Rader, Ben Brown, and Jill Carter. The 9 senators who screwed us in the Republican Party, the 9 rhinos, were Senator Bean, Senator Bernskoetter, Senator Cierpiot, Senator Crawford, Senator Eslinger, Senator Rowden, Senator O'Loughlin, Senator Hough, and Mary Elizabeth Coleman. She actually goes by Mary Coleman. So those are the 9 rhinos who screwed us. So guys, your action step right now is very simple. We must rain down phone calls on the 9 senators who screwed us and insist that they do 2 things. Number 1, vote for, or put their name rather, on the PQ motion to break the Democratic filibuster. And number 2, be one of the 18 senators who votes yes on IP reform SJR-74. You know, everyone says this is the most important election season in your lifetime. This is the most important bill in your lifetime, and they're usually full of crap. And this may not be the most important bill in our lifetime, but understand this. The way leftist groups work, they always have 10 times, 20 times, 50 times the money that conservative organizations have. And the way they work in red states like Missouri is they use the initiative petition process to circumvent the General Assembly and put their policy basically directly into our state constitution. If we do not button this up, everything that we care about here in Missouri, whether it's the Second Amendment, whether it's the unborn life, whether it's any other conservative issue you care about, it will be able to be destroyed by well-funded leftist organizations every 2 years until there's nothing left of what we care about here in Missouri. This is the time to pour pressure on backstabbing rhino Republicans. We're going to put their names underneath the video. Please make your calls right away. If you have their cell phones, by all means, give them a text. If you want to hit them on Facebook, that's fine. If you want to come and knock on their door at the Capitol right now, that is also fine. Please make your voice heard. This is the big one. We have approximately 1 day left, guys. Get loud, stay loud. I'll keep you guys informed. Take care. Thank you very much.